Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Ant Green Show Sports Podcast. We're here with the amazing guest that we had from the last episode, and we're ready to give you guys some great information. The first episode, we really kicked things off, got a good feel for it, and really got some good points across to see, basically what's been going on in the league, and really to give you an alternative option in terms of hearing what you normally hear through mainstream. This is more of an unbiased, something that we'd like to give our best opinion on, and something sports has been a part of all of our lives for a while. So welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Ant Green Show. Make sure to follow the Ant Green Show at all social media platforms. Now, of course, we have our co-host here, so we're going to pass it around and let you guys hear some of the hosts that we have on tap for tonight. So, guys, feel free to jump in and let them know what's going on.
Yeah, what's up? Harris Qureshy back here. Excited to do episode number 2 on the Ian Green Show. Thanks again, Rahshawn, for having us.
No
Excited
doubt.
to get top in. And of course, you can check out me out on social media. That's HQ_meals or my personal profile, Harris316. So let's get this
Yep.
show rolling and start talking some hoops and football and everything in between.
That's what's up, man. And that's exactly what we're getting to. Happy to have you on board, Harris.
Thank you.
Happy to have you on board.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jelanie Duhaney. I'm a basketball coach at Sun Youth. You can follow me on Facebook at Jashawn Thomas. Again, just to reiterate what Harris was saying, I'm happy to be here on the Ant Green Show, and I'm looking forward to another great episode.
That's what's up, man. Jelani, always great to have you, man. Looking forward to some interesting conversations and discussions coming from your end, as always.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What's everybody? What's up, everybody? This is Kenton Lowe here. Excited for another show. Glad to be back. Thanks to Rahshawn for having me back again. Looking forward to covering a few hot topics in the world of sports, and looking forward to chopping up with you guys tonight. So let's do it.
Yes, sir. All right, great. Good to have you as well, Kenton. Looking forward to some discussions with you as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode, we're riding on a special weekend. There's been a lot of great games that have been happening, a lot of new, interesting news, debate, conversations happening around the league, but we also have Super Bowl weekend. So in today's episode, we're going to be doing it as a 50-50. We're going to be giving you the best when it comes to NBA sports news information, and also we're going to be going into the Super Bowl and having some really interesting discussions and of course predictions to see what's going on. This seems like it'll be a Super Bowl for the books, and we're here to give you some of the good inside scoops from what we know and what we hope to happen. All right, so I guess to kick things off, for the NBA, looking at both conferences. Western Conference has been doing well. A lot of teams have been emerging, but the Eastern Conference right now, some of the teams that we're normally used to seeing at top the division are kind of taking a little bit of a lull, going through a bit of struggles. And those two teams that I'm referring to are the Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors. Teams are okay to have slow starts, but sometimes, based on their last year performance going now, it begs the question, do you think that they're able to get back to that level, or has the team suffered now? So I'd like to get you guys opinions on what could be some of the reasons that the top teams in the East aren't playing to their potential.
All right. So my thing is with the Miami Heat. Here is a team that no one expected them to basically go to the finals last year and get thrown by the Lakers. Miami. Jimmy Butler, a guy that's been missing 12 games, I think that also played a role into why Miami's struggling. Also, Jimmy is only averaging like less than 20 points a game. Now, also Miami's defense, coming from a basketball coach, defense wins championships. So the thing is that Miami, they're not really that good defensively this year. So I think that's another reason why they've been slipping. And I think Eric Spoelstra needs to make some adjustments on that end. Offensively, Miami is also struggling. So, they need to balance it out on both sides of the ball. And believe it or not, unfortunately, which is kind of sad, that a team like Miami lost to teams that that are like below 500, like teams like Detroit and whatnot. So I think Miami, what they need to do, like I said, is that they need to, get their act together, because I have them actually as one of my picks to make a serious run this year.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think that it's a few games losing to some teams that you should be winning is a cause for concern. And I think that you don't expect them to be there, but that they have the potential to do it. What else do you guys think regarding like the Heat? What else could be a reason that they're playing this way, or the team might be struggling?
Yeah, I'd like to touch in on that.
Yeah.
So last year, of course, we had the bubble environment, and it's not taking anything away from the Heat, but no travel. You're playing every other day. You're
Yeah.
not dealing with the elements of being on the road or playing in front of your home fans. So I think with that aspect
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
helped them play and really excel in the playoffs. So it's not to say they won't make the playoffs. I do think with the new strategy and structure that they've introduced with the play-in tournaments,
Hmm.
um, really you can hover around the 10th seed and get a crack at the playoffs, despite them being 8-14. I do think they can turn it around, and they will turn it around. I think they know that as well. So
Hmm.
I think the slow starts are credited a little bit with how they been dealing with the bubble environment last year and then coming into a regular season this year. Yeah, you might be playing the same teams, back to back, and not doing a
Hmm.
lot of road games in a row. But I think a little bit just their success was built because they could handle the elements of the bubble. And as
Yeah.
for the
They
yeah,
excelled. Yeah. They
of
did really
course, of
well.
course. And for the Toronto Raptors, I mean, it's a slow start. Sure, they're in the eighth seed, but we also have to understand that the core of the team that won the championship 2 years ago, it's Gasol is gone, Kawhi, of course, we know left.
Yeah.
Serge Ibaka has gone, so it's a whole new team.
Few
So
pieces are gone from
few
that
pieces are
last year.
gone.
Yeah.
Of course, and Larry, I'm not sure on his exact age, but I think he's approaching 33, 34-ish. So I mean, he's obviously not the same Larry he was a couple of years ago. So it's a really new team. You have Van Vliet,
Hmm.
who's young, Siakam. So I think it's wrong to say us getting on the Raptors and saying once with a slow start, because we've come accustomed to them winning 50 plus games, for 5, 6 straight years, and they had the
Yeah.
DeRozan and Larry days. But it's a whole new team. So I'm not surprised at all from the slow start. And also the biggest factor that's gone into them, it's unfortunate for the Raptors, but they don't have a home court. They're playing in Tampa Bay in
Big.
Florida.
Good point.
So yeah, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, they're not staying in their regular home environment, going to
Hmm.
from the arena, getting that home court feel. So for them, it's like they're playing all 72 games this year on the road. And the
Yep.
fact that they're still eighth in the East is impressive. So I think the Raptors are okay from that point. Even if they can make the playoffs as an eighth and seventh seed, it's a
Hmm.
great success season, especially considering the environments that they're going through.
Couldn't agree with you, man. That's really good points. Both teams, that these teams have the star potential. They have, good role players, but there's a lot of factors that play into where they are. Kenton, I'm interested because I know that you've followed the Heat for a while, and that Toronto obviously has good chemistry team wise. What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely, and I kind of like the points that Harris mentioned, especially in regards to the Raptors. One thing that I think is that, especially in the Eastern Conference, I feel like the rest of the conference is kind of caught up with the Toronto Raptors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you look at the better part of the last 7 to 8 years, they were kind of like the East was very top heavy in a sense that there were four teams in the East,
Mm-hmm.
1 through 4. The rest of the conference was basically a crapshoot. I mean, it could be any team rotating in and out of there from year to year. But
Right. Right.
I think right now it's good. Like as Rahshawn said, it's gotten to the point where they've lost a lot of their core players from those championship team. Well, the championship team, and especially those teams when they were going on when they were finishing, with close to 50 wins and finishing first or second place in the
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Conference. So definitely that has played a part in what's going on right now. I also feel like the Eastern Conference in general has gotten a lot stronger. I mean, I don't know if we can
It's
say that
true.
the Western Conference is the power conference right now. I think right now it's fairly even. If you look at the top 5 players in the league, you could throw Giannis, KD, Harden in there. These guys are all coming out of the Eastern Conference, so it's
Yep.
definitely
Yep.
more of a battle right now to finish on top of that Eastern Conference. There's so many teams right now from 1 through 8 I mean, I'm looking at the standings now. I'm seeing teams like you have Charlotte, you have Miami. These guys are, it could easily be playoff teams right now, and they're on the outside looking in if the playoffs were to start tomorrow. So, I mean, I think right now the Eastern Conference is so stacked.
The bar is raised. It's true.
Well,
And a lot of players that struggled in the Western Conference that are now making a home in the Eastern Conference, it's going to change the dynamic of the conference itself. And now teams have to kind of have a few key pieces to even just, I mean, the play-in tournament is a great opportunity for people to get in, even at a lower seed or a seed that wouldn't have even made it. But even still, like you said, Charlotte, Miami, they're right there. And these teams, I mean, Miami obviously was in the finals last year, but Charlotte, like, they really got to a place now where they could compete, and they have enough pieces now to at least make a short to medium playoff run. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. And in another team that I wanted to talk on or touch on as well as the Miami Heat, I feel like, again, kind of in line with what Harris was saying, I think they benefited from the bubble. I think that was something that really, for a team like that, that had they have a lot of young guys on their team, guys who came into the league rather, hungry to prove themselves. And I think having that bubble environment helped them because it was for them. I guess it was, some of these guys weren't far removed from just, going to straight up AAU tournaments and just calling out for a weekend, you know what I mean, in one setting. So I mean, for some of these guys, that bubble setting was kind of like, bringing them back to where they were 3-4 years ago, like that. So I think that team, especially the Miami Heat, they were built for the bubble because, I mean, they had a lot of guys who were, like I said, were going out there and trying to prove themselves. So I think they benefited from that. Whereas a lot of the rest of the league, some of them didn't even want to be in the bubble. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, good. No, it's true, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they fare now because there's so many challenges along with, like, obviously your schedule. I mean, for the Toronto Raptors not having a home court, for the Miami Heat really benefiting from the bubble. Like, these teams have to make quick adjustments. It's a shortened season. The bar has been raised. So we're really, I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I know they have the potential to do it, right? Shifting focus to the Western Conference and staying with the Eastern Conference in a player that is playing in the East but could potentially go to the West, and that player is Bradley Beal. I know you guys know that this guy is, in my opinion, he's pretty much an all-star ballot almost every year. He's giving you at least 25 points, 25 per minimum, and he's been having crazy outbreaks in games. So, teams in the West could use him to build up and go and make a championship run. The Clippers seem like they're going to be one of the biggest threats, in my opinion, to the Lakers, and they need to figure out whether he's something that they want to invest in or not. And I'm curious to know if you guys think if he's even a good fit with the Clippers, or should he stay, or should he even go to the Western Conference? What are your thoughts?
Personally, I don't think he'd be a good fit for the Clippers. The reason I say that is I'm not comparing, at all Paul George and Bradley Beal, but I'm just saying that Paul George is a great shooter as well. He's a smooth shooter, and bringing Beal in, I mean, you're just kind of offsetting it with George. You already have Kawhi and George playing together, and for them to get Beal means they got to give up a lot. I mean, I don't think it's possible for the Clippers to get that scenario, pull it off, and even if they do, like, let's just pretend you have Kawhi, Beal, and George. I don't know. I just doesn't really sink into me and buy into me from that aspect. And personally, I think, even Beal said it himself that he doesn't want to be traded. And I would actually like to see him in Washington. Yeah, of course, it's been a slow start. And I think a lot of it credited to Russ Westbrook. He was injured and he missed some games, I think, with the illness. So they have, with the protocols. But listen, I mean, they have a good coach there with Scott Brooks. He coached Russ in OKC for many years.
Right.
So I'm thinking, like, this season is not washed up yet at all. There's still plenty of games to go. You play out the season and you build towards it, and you've built a base in Washington. They're talking about trading Beal, but maybe just retool the team around Westbrook, Beal, and some other pieces. So no, I don't think I don't want to see him go to the West. I think he would be great to stay in Washington.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I really respect the players that decide that they don't need to go and ring chase, or they don't need to go and try to make a powerhouse just to get a ring for that maybe one opportunity. So I really like that you see it as like,
Yeah.
stay in Washington. The season's early. There's some good assets. Work on it from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you see,
Yeah. Go ahead.
oh, you want to go ahead, Mr. Lowe?
No, go ahead, do your thing.
Well, see, Harris, I kind of don't agree. That's the thing. I think Bradley Beal should get traded for the simple fact that, again, you're playing with a guy like Russell Westbrook. He's been a problem in OKC. He was a problem in Houston. And apparently, there was some, I don't know, it was a rumor I think I heard, but there's something going on in Washington with him and Russ. But the point of the matter is that,
Okay.
as much as he wants to stay there, guys like John Wall, they wanted to stay there, but you know how the NBA is. It's a business, right? And as soon as you start complaining, teams are going to want to get rid of you regardless. So for me personally, I think the Clippers would be a good fit for the simple fact that look at a guy like Patrick Beverley, who's getting paid, I believe, around $14 million a year. Now, Patrick Beverley, who's a great point guard, by the way, defensively, he's not worth $14 million a year. And the Clippers, I think, in my opinion, I
Still
don't think it
lacking.
would exactly. I don't think it would offset George in a sense. If you put him at the guard and forget the shooting guard, right? If you put him at the guard, right there, that's a serious threat to the Lakers right now. And I think that's one piece that they're missing is that point guard position.
Mhm.
And even a couple of years ago when they had a guy like Chris Paul, they went deep in the playoffs. But the thing is that, yes, they would give a lot for him. It would be a long shot, but I think it would be a good fit, especially for the fact that a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who's in the last year of his contract,
Yeah.
you want to do everything you can to make him stay, right? So you got to put pieces around him. The same thing with guys like LeBron and whatnot, always crying for playmakers and whatnot. So like I said, I think this is a good fit for
This
him.
guy has to throw shade at LeBron in there.
Oh, but it's true though. The guys like
You
a
see how
kangaroo,
things
guys hopping around with from team to team. But that's how it is now. That's the business aspect of it. So like I said, I think they're just a point guard away from being serious contenders.
No, I agree. I like it.
Good.
I
No,
like it.
great point. Yeah.
And plus another big three in LA, right? So why not?
Yeah, the big threes nowadays come in all different forms, man. You know what I mean?
For sure.
What do you think, Kenton?
So, I mean, both of you guys had great points, but I think what we really need to look at is the key, the most important thing is, and that's what do the Clippers have to give back, or what do the Clippers have? What assets do they have to offer up in a trade? I mean, these guys don't have a first-round draft pick till 2026. They mortgaged away their future when they picked up Paul George from OKC. So I think you got to consider that as well. I mean, if you're going to be getting a guy like Bradley Beal, this guy's averaging a cool 33 points per game leading the league right now. I think that's going to cost at least a first-round draft pick, and that's something that the Clippers just don't have right now. So I don't see the possibility of them getting a guy like Bradley Beal. I mean, even if you will look at the players that they have in that organization, I mean, who really can they offer up for a guy like Bradley Beal? There's nobody there. I mean, aside from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I mean, they got a lot of nice role players, but I mean, ain't nobody on that team worth Bradley Beal. Give us a break here, you know what I mean? We keep it real. But I mean, if we're
will
gonna
they pull it off? I don't know. It's true.
I just don't see how they would do it. I just don't see the possibility. I mean, like I said, you're gonna have to give up some assets, and that's one thing the Clippers really don't have right now. They gave away all their assets when they got guys like Paul George and Marcus Morris for a first round draft.
They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
So I think teams that I think, I had a list here of teams that I think would benefit from a guy like Bradley Beal and may have the assets to offer up. I mean, you look at a team like the Mavericks. I think they have the cap to do it right now. Luka hasn't gotten paid yet, if I'm not mistaken, or I think maybe he got an extension this summer. But either way, they have some cap space there. I believe that can handle Bradley Beal. I'm pretty sure they still got some first round draft picks there too. I think they got the pieces around, there to offer up for a guy like Bradley Beal, and I think him, Luka, and Porzingis would be a pretty deadly matchup if they were to go and make a run in the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think the Mavericks should make a run. I also have a team down here. I think the Nuggets have the assets and perhaps can make a run at a guy like Bradley Beal. So I mean, those are a couple teams that I think should or would benefit from a guy like Bradley Beal. I'd definitely striking them up, especially if they want to make a playoff run against teams like the Clippers or the Lakers.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that, but there's one team actually that I think would be a good fit for Beal other than the Clippers. And you guys are all probably gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I think the Pelicans. Think about it. They're thinking of getting rid of Lonzo Ball. You put a guy like Bradley Beal, Ingram, and Zion. Now that's a good young.
Yeah. No, that's great. I have no problem with
yeah,
that at all. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
That would be pretty good actually. That'd be a nice. That'd be a dangerous big three. You know,
for sure. That's
nice,
a serious playoff run right there.
And if you look at those guys, they're all relatively young guys. I mean, I'm not too sure how old Bradley Beal is. He can't be anything north of 30.
It's like 28, I believe. 28, 29,
no,
I think.
Exactly. So we still got some pretty good years ahead of him. I mean, Zion and Ingram are relatively young as well. So I mean, that could be a core three for the next 4 or 5 years if they can make the right rules.
But I also like what you said about the Mavericks. I think that would be a good piece for Doncic to work with. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bradley Beal is a player that could make a lot of teams better. I think there's a lot of good points regarding him being on the Clippers and also not being a good fit for the Clippers and also not even, not working out. But I think overall he might end up staying. He's getting paid well. At the end of the day, he's still putting up his numbers. I don't know if he maybe has to drop his numbers, kind of need to sacrifice a bit of his game to be able to have Washington to compete. Because if you're scoring these 40-point games and losing, what else are you really doing wrong? You might, it's kind of like, to me, it comes off as like a Jordan, early season Jordan, rookie season where he's just dropping numbers, but they're losing. Yeah. I mean, you do need to have some pieces to be able to compete, but interested to see how Bradley Beal plays out. But so moving on, right now, this NBA season, there's been a lot of standout players and rookies this season. The rookie class, I feel like it's been a pretty good class. Maybe not to the same magnitude as we have seen in the past. Rookies this year didn't really get much of a training camp, summer league. They're kind of just forced to kind of go right away and start playing. And a lot of these guys are proving their worth early. And then, of course, around the league, there's guys that just have been around and continue to perform. Some of these guys are always up top the list, and sometimes guys rise above the occasion. So I guess to start things off rookie-wise, who, in your opinion, has been playing to the point that they could potentially get an either Rookie of the Year award or even just really remain up top that rankings?
If I were to give out two, if I were to say like the two rookies of the month,
one East, one West.
East West from last month. From the East, I look at a guy like LaMelo Ball. I'm
killing it.
He's balling out. I'm really impressed with what he's doing this year. Honestly, he's really surprised me in terms of what he's been able to do at the next level. Mm-hmm. I mean, his shooting percentages are not great, but I mean, his counting stats are pretty good. I mean, he's averaging almost close to a double a game, and he's grabbing rebounds and playing defense, getting steals as well. So I mean, you definitely have to look at a guy like LaMelo Ball for the Eastern Conference Rookie of the month.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go over to the West, I'd say it's a close one. I mean, statistically, I have to look at Tyrese Halliburton. He's been doing pretty well, even though I mean, the Kings are middle of the pack, if that right now. I mean, but I mean, he's been putting up some pretty good numbers, defensive stats, scoring, and assists as well. A close second, I'd say James Wiseman. I mean, this guy is so talented, man. He's such a talented player. The only thing is the only down part about it is he's very raw in a sense that he's got the tangibles. I mean, he's a 7-foot guy. He can shoot. He plays great defense, blocks down the paint, but he's a very raw player. I mean, people don't know, but he only played 3 games in Memphis last year because he was deemed ineligible because apparently he accepted money from his coach, Penny Hardaway at Memphis, for moving expenses, or his family accepted money or something like that. So, I mean, in the last 2 years, he's played before the NBA season started, he played a total of 3 games. So, I mean, before that, he was coming out of high school. So I think he's up there. I mean, he's definitely coming. I think we had touched on it last episode, but he's definitely got the right guys around him, so I think at some point he's definitely going to be up there in terms of the top players coming out of this draft. But right now I'm looking at LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton as my rookies of the month.
These guys are playing hard and, they're doing the best they can with the teams that they have, but they're proving themselves. And, especially Tyrese Halliburton dropping to, I believe it was 12th in the draft. he's also letting teams know that they passed up on him. So I like those two guys, and looking forward to seeing how they kind of continue that level of play, because as the season goes on, it's not college ball anymore. It's not high school. It's not overseas. Like the NBA is pretty rigorous, and a lot of guys, like, your matchups are tough, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
I like
every
those
night
guys.
you're going up against top tier guys every night. So definitely, it's definitely a different game. It's definitely a different game. Playing with men, you're not playing with the boys anymore. So.
Yep, absolutely. I hear that. What else you guys think?
Yeah, exactly what Kenton said. I mean, I won't don't have much to say because essentially I agree with Kenton on both choices, LaMelo Ball and Tyrese from the West, and even a distant third is same thing. Wiseman. I touched on in episode 1 as well. The fact that he's learning under Draymond and Steve Kerr, that is huge, intangible on its own. The beneficial receive for that in the years to come.
Player coach with Draymond, and you have Steve Kerr, who's been around and knows how to insert him into a good offense.
That's right. So the upside is great for him. But yeah, right now for sure, LaMelo, what he's doing, and then Tyrese in Sacramento. I don't have the standings open in front of me. Yeah, but I think they're right around 500, hovering around the 8th seed. So I give it to those two.
I
agree with both you guys in terms of rookies of the month.
The stats are just there.
But this one guy you guys forgot about, Emmanuel Quickley, New York Knicks. He's on the rise.
Hey, I'm happy that you brought that up, and it's good to hear that, because it's true. He's quietly playing better than a lot of people expected, and he's helping the Knicks kind of find themselves. So that's a good little find.
Kenton said earlier he was looking at the Eastern Conference standings. I think he forgot to point out who's sitting in number 6, those New York Knicks.
Hey, the Knicks.
They've got a better record than Toronto. What do you got to say about that?
It's all good. We're only 7-8 weeks in. We'll give it time. The wheels will fall off eventually.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully not, man. Hey, man, you got to put some respect on the Knicks name, my friend, man.
Well, hey, I mean,
they're on the rise.
I like that pick for Quirkley. I mean, I think they picked Obi Toppin in the top 10 and the top 10, but I mean, it's Quirkley that's playing with a top 10 player right now, so or at least a top 10 pick. So I mean, I like that pick. I like that. I like that name.
He's good, and I guess we'll wait to see how those rookies play out in terms of veterans now, or even some second, third, fourth year players. Who do you guys think for the month of January, who really outperformed the competition, and I guess could also be considered MVP? Who, in your opinion, has kind of been leading the pack in the East and one in the West?
For me, I mean, I'm gonna sound repetitive, but I mean, if I'm going back for the Western Conference Player of the Month, I'm gonna have to go back to Nikola Jokic. He's playing out of this world. I mean, the stats have tailed down a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I know his assists are not up, but I mean, he's still averaging 9 or above assists per game, 10 rebounds, and close to around 20, 25 points in between that range. So he's definitely my Player of the Month so far.
Yeah.
In the West, and if I'm going over to the East, I'm looking at Kevin Durant. He's averaging 30 points a game. He's picking pretty much. The dude hasn't played a game in 18 months, and this guy's picking up where he left off. One of the league's best. So definitely have to go with Kevin Durant so far in the first month of the season.
Like it. That's all good. Those guys are playing hard. I can't deny it. I mean, interesting you brought up KD, because he's kind of been in a bit of news now since the Toronto game yesterday. But aside from that whole debacle or situation, the numbers he's putting up, crazy that he could just play as if he's ready and back to where he was before.
Yeah, and my there in the Western Conference, I think the Player of the Month for me personally has been Stephen Curry. This dude is balling. I think it's great for the league when Curry's healthy. 28 points, 47% field goal, 42% or close to it from 3-point range. And the Warriors, they're not back to their winning ways, but they're playing well, 12-10. And, they're building, they're playing well. So I think Curry's just been playing extremely well, balling out. And in the Eastern Conference, tough to argue against Kevin Durant as well. Just the fact that he's coming off, which is considered the most, gruesome injury in sports, tearing your Achilles.
Yeah.
And the way he's balling.
Had that.
Yeah. And, I was watching the game, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember, against the Clippers. I watched that game in its entirety, and
Mhm.
I'm just watching Durant, and his stroke is smooth. This guy is moving well. He's just playing great ball. So I got to give it to him for the month, and hopefully he's not out for too long. Yeah, Durant
Big
in the East,
news.
and yeah, that's right, that's right. Durant in the East, and Curry out in the West.
Yes, sir. Like those two guys too. They, KD is KD and Curry. Depleted team or not, you would think that teams would load up on him and slow him down, but he's.
He's
I'm
finding
where,
ways.
where, where
Yeah,
is he right now in terms of scoring? Is he
I think he's
top
top one
three?
or two. Yeah, I think he's top one or two. Or
He's yeah, he's like he's top five, but I mean he's around 28 points, and the guys just above him are at 29, so he's pretty much in
okay,
a
yeah,
close third.
there you
Right.
go. So yeah, he's and it's just great to see him play. Everyone's watched Curry in this group, so
Hmm.
it's just fun to watch him ball out.
Yes, sir.
Definitely he's one of my favorite players to watch. I love watching
Yeah,
Stephen Curry. Just you
same.
know what I mean. It's nice to see a guy who who doesn't jump out of the gym. He's just a
Yeah,
normal dude. He just shoots well and can
Bringing back the
dribble.
art of shooting.
There you go.
that's
There you
right.
go.
Yes, sir.
For me, I got Jokic. I got Jokic in the West. This guy's been killing it lately. In the East, I
Best
just
center
got
in the game, in
Joe.
my opinion.
Yeah,
Right now, he's one of the best.
yeah. And in the East, I got Joel Embiid. Clearly stated he wants to be MVP this year, and if he keeps up the way he's playing, I think he'll get it. So
Hmm. That's what's
I
up.
like that.
Nice picks,
Joel
guys.
Embiid. I think Joel Embiid is probably he could be the best player in the league if he just if you put it together. You know what I mean? If he
Put
could
his
stay
head down
healthy.
and just staying healthy. That's probably the biggest thing. But actually knowing, like, forget about the refs, forget about the antics, like play ball, play to your potential. You could be the most dominant player in the game,
But
you
you know
know?
who he reminds me of? Embiid reminds me of a lot like Kevin Garnett in a sense. I don't know
Mm,
if you guys agree, but he's
hmm.
playing like Garnett right now. Like
Yeah,
he can
well,
literally shoot from anywhere.
Definitely.
he's doing a lot for the team, and he knows that. Well, I think it's a crazy stat, like how the team, when he's not playing, is does anybody know, is it like they're over a certain amount when he's not playing, but when he's playing they're winning like almost every time. He's so crucial to that team, so he actually has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's playing well. um his history has left to been said, like, that he could sustain it. I find sometimes he's a bit injury prone. He likes to throw his body around, but right now he's making a case for MVP and helping
Yeah.
Philadelphia compete in a very boosted Eastern Conference. So going from that to the All-Star game, and I don't know if you guys heard recently a bit of feedback from players, how they don't really feel like the All-Star game is needed this year. So that's kind of one thing I wanted to get you guys' opinion on, and also just who you think would be kind of the starting five in the East, starting five in the West, but also just really to figure out, is this All-Star game even needed? Do you think that this year is a year that they should still stick to tradition? But of course, the NBA has television agreements and contracts to abide to. So I don't know. It's kind of a tough situation. Everybody likes All Star, but like this year is a year like no other.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone loves a good All-Star game, no doubt about that. Do I think we need one? Absolutely not. All-Star
Mm,
game is 100% for the fans. And if you guys
mm,
recall back in '99 when they had the lockout shortened season,
mm,
they skipped the All-Star game. So, I'm not saying we're used to skipping it, but we skipped it when we had fans in the shortened season.
yeah.
So let's skip it now. And one thing that I did find ironic, though, LeBron spoke up first and said it was like a slap in the face. And then suddenly everyone started following suit after that. So I kind of felt like people were
The LeBron
scared to.
effect.
Exactly. That's the thing. No one spoke up until, 2 days ago, LeBron said he wasn't happy. And now suddenly Giannis and everyone's saying, oh, well, they don't want to play. But anyways, that's for a different, story.
Different episode, different
The
conversation. Yeah.
conversation, yeah. But no, do I think we need an All-Star game? No. We watch it as fans, and I just won't be the same. You want to see the celebrities on the sidelines. You want to see the crowd getting into it.
Hmm.
All-Star game really needs that organic feel with a live audience. So as much as we love seeing the top players get together and ball, I don't think I want to see an All-Star game. So, and I'm sure Kenton and Rahshawn might agree with me, but go ahead and let me know what you guys think as well.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead, man.
there's not much to say. Like I said,
Not this
it's
year.
not necessary, especially the fact that wait till the everyone gets their COVID vaccine or whatever, and just wait for everything to somewhat return to some sort of normalcy, and then bring back the All-Star game. But I don't think it's necessary this year. So.
Yeah. No, you know what? And that's the thing, right? Like, I really just want, I guess it obviously everybody could kind of figure out who would be the starting fives, but I think what we really just want to focus on here is just, and as Harris and Jelanie, you guys both pointed out, like, it's for the fans. So when there isn't really fans there, yet you're getting a virtual experience, but it's the environment that you want to be in. All-Star weekend, you're having the celebrity appeal. The certain contests are really, sometimes a big deal, like dunk contest, 3-point. People really watch that. So you can get the kind of similar experience watching it from home. But that's, I guess, what the main discussion is here, whether it's needed. I agree with you guys. It's great to have it. But, as Harris and Jelanie, you guys said, this year, you don't want to take too many risks. It's in an open city, all the players coming in. And with already, the NBA wanting to being a league that is reputable in terms of health and safety, like they did a good job in the bubble. They're trying to uphold that. They're trying to make sure that those standards are kept. And, now they're starting to fall a little bit through the cracks as certain outbreaks are happening. So the All-Star could be interesting if it does happen, because nobody knows what to expect. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you agree, Kenton, or do you think
well, and sorry, hold on, Kenton. Kenton, before
go ahead.
I had a question for Kenton before he continued.
Mhm.
Do you think James Harden is All-Star worthy this year, having only played 10 games in the East so far? So if you had to put your selection in for the All-Star balloting right now, would you include Harden on it?
Actually, I mean, funny you shouldn't ask me that, but I have him on my All-Star list for this year in the East.
Okay.
Even though he didn't play as many games as some other guys, I still believe that when he did play, he was still one of the best players in the East, or especially in the game. So I definitely have him in my All-Star selection
roster.
list.
Yeah.
So I don't think a player like him should be left off, because I mean, when he does play, he's obviously a top 5 guy in the league right now. Yeah. So I definitely have him on my All-Star.
And what do you think in terms of should there be an All-Star game, or?
I don't think there should be an All-Star game, to be honest with you. It's not really important right now, especially with what's going on. You know what I mean? But I do think that, they should try and do something for the fans. I mean, you take notes from the NFL. Instead of doing a physical Pro Bowl, they had guys go online and play Madden and have it streamed and whatever. You know what I mean? There's no.
True, I saw that.
The NBA, exactly. I understand that the NBA has their TV obligations, and obviously there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of money to be lost. So I mean, I understand you gotta bite the bullet this year. Don't have a physical All-Star game. But I mean, hey, some people might tune in and may want to watch some All-Stars play.
Get creative
or something.
Yeah, you have to get
but
creative.
It's funny Kenton brings it up, because a good idea or a good suggestion could also be like, you have all the teams, just do a skills competition from their training facility.
They did that.
There you go. They did that. Exactly. I think they did that last year on ESPN, where it was like a giant game of horse or something like that, and they had
that's a good point.
So you get the Warriors in their practice facility, you got the Knicks in their practice facility, and everyone just plays a 3-point shootout. Just something for the fans. Just to put something out there. So that would be pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, if we're looking at having an All-Star game, I mean, how many fans are you really going to be able to cater to actually be present at the game? I mean, are you going to have an NBA All-Star game and have no fans there? Are you going to have 1,000 fans, 2,000 fans?
Well, right now they're playing. Well, right now they're playing in Atlanta, and they're only allowed 1,700 fans in the arena, which is a joke. I mean, you're not going to have an All-Star game with 1,700 people. That's
there you go.
That's nothing. Yeah. So I think you just got to scrap the idea altogether and just find another way to make it, turn it into something else for the fans virtually or something like that.
And I'm curious as to when what venue or where was the All-Star game scheduled?
Atlanta,
okay,
yeah.
So then,
because it's one of the 9 arenas where they let fans in, but you're only allowed 1,500 to 1,700 fans. So again, it's not.
Is it even worth it? Yeah.
No, I don't think. I don't think it's worth it, and I don't think LeBron is wants to expose himself to courtside Karen again. So I think he's
Yeah.
good with that.
Yeah.
Hey, social media, there's always someone that could overnight become viral for the right and
Yeah.
wrong reasons.
For real.
Don't poke the bear. LeBron James has been there, done that. They ended up winning the game, and she might end up losing whatever type of season pass tickets just for even. Well, actually, she's sitting courtside, so maybe she has the money to kind of get by all that. So going into the last NBA subject that we have here, so it's the power ranking subject. So what that is really figuring out which teams now are standing amongst the best, so East and West, in a top 1 to 5 seeding. Now, I know a lot of teams right now, on paper look good, but according to records, according to what we've been seeing, especially in some key matchups. Now I want to get you guys' opinion on this. Of course, everyone also has their own subjective opinion. You might see it online. But really, in terms of the top 5 teams now, and especially teams that you think have the best chance at winning a title, based on that, who do you guys see right now?
Well, in my top 5 right now, power rankings as of today, I would have to go put Utah there at number 1. Them being 18-5, of course. I mean, they're playing great ball. And then number 2, you got to go with the Clippers. As much as I'm a Lakers guy, the Clippers are, deserving of that number 2 spot. And then number 3, I got to go with the Lakers. So you got the 2 LA teams, 2 and 3. And then in the 4th, I got to go with the Sixers. And the 5th spot, it's really a close call between the
Toss
Nets
up.
and the Bucks. Yeah, but I would have to put the Nets in there right now. At given the just the way they had a good week against the Clippers and the way they've been playing, and not taking anything away from the Bucks, but they've been playing the Cavaliers back to back these last couple of games. But so that's rounding up my top 5.
Cool.
So just again, it's Utah, Clippers, Lakers, Philadelphia, and then I'll put the Nets up in there in top 5.
Got you, Harris. And what we'll do, obviously, for the next episode, we'll definitely see how those teams have fared. So we'll follow up on those predictions. But
For
those
sure.
teams definitely have been playing well. Can't deny both LA teams. The Nets, they look like they can compete with anybody offensively. Defense
Yeah.
is left to be seen.
Of course.
But if you could score in the 4th quarter, like guys like James Harden, he'll get you a bucket almost any given possession. And guys, if Kyrie and KD even just play to half their potential, you're looking at an easy 60 points just from those guys on a regular day. So for sure, see the Nets and Philly for sure. I like the way they're playing. They're really strong in the paint. And they got some shooting this season, so that really helps. So I like those picks,
absolutely.
power rankings from Harris. Nice picks there, man.
Thank you.
What else you guys thinking out here? Kenton, Jelanie, who you guys looking at right now who's running top 5 spots?
To be honest, my top 5 were probably almost identical to Harris's. I think Utah's playing great basketball right now. They've won 9 of their last 10.
You got them at number 1?
I got them at number 1 right now. I highly doubt that's going to remain that way. But I mean, right now they're the hottest team in the league right now in terms of games won. So I have to have them at number 1. Clippers in 2nd, Lakers in 3rd. I just think right now the Lakers, even though they started the season off pretty strong, I think they've lost some games right now that they really should have managed to win. So I have them at number 3. Sixers are playing pretty well at I have them at number 4, but they're playing pretty well overall. I think right now in the Eastern Conference are probably the team to beat.
True.
I think they're, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris right now, they're all playing extremely well. I mean, not so much Ben Simmons. I still believe that there's some room, not some room to grow, but I think Ben Simmons is leaving a lot on the table right now. But I mean, if he could pick that up, if he can get back to his numbers that he was at last year, where he's averaging close to a triple double, then I think the Sixers can, their potential and their ceiling gets that much higher. So I think the Sixers are in 4. And then I have the Nets at 5 right now. I think right now that, looking at their schedule and the teams that they've beaten the last few games, they're looking pretty good.
So it's almost like an identical, pretty much an identical
power ranking.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I had, Nets and the Bucks the Bucks were a close 6th, but thinking about it, I have to go with the Nets. I think right now, especially looking at what's going on with them, they're still trying to figure each other out in terms of, Kyrie, KD, James Harden dynamic, and they're still beating top tier teams. So I got to give them some credit there. So that's my top 5.
Yeah, and a lot of this is like, you guys have to feel for sure that these guys are deserving of the spot, even if they are in that spot. Other teams could have still been playing well, just a little bit under the radar. So all good. Those guys, those teams are really dominating, and it's left to be seen if they could sustain that level of play. And
All
Jelanie,
right,
what about you?
so it's funny. I did something completely different from you guys. I didn't really have a top five per se. I had a top five of teams on the rise. Is that okay if I
Hmm.
share that or?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. If
Okay,
if they're
yeah,
deserving
okay.
in your
So
books, it's all good.
yeah, so for teams on the rise as opposed to power rankings like you guys would normally do, I had the Rockets sitting at number five.
Hmm.
I mean, come on, what's the saying, man? Like they're on like a 5 game winning streak. And ever since James Harden left, they've had the number one ranked defense. And what about Christian Wood? Another good guy that's
Showing up. Yeah.
a key player for the Rockets. Number four, I told you about them Hawks, Atlanta Hawks. They've been playing
Yeah,
great
yeah.
defensively. Um, even though Trey Young's been struggling, but like they've been picking up the slack on defense. I had the Warriors at number three. Um, I like how Steve Kerr like made that adjustment of putting Wiseman on the bench and inserting Kevin Looney. I had San Antonio at number two. Good old Popovich still getting it done,
Mm.
right? And I had the Grizzlies at number one. So those are my top five of teams on the rise.
That's all good, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Like, there's teams coming up that sometimes you do need to take notice of. The power rankings are always usually going to be the teams that are common. It's interesting to hear sometimes if you guys think they're deserving of the spots or not, even if their records show it, because your record could show one thing, but you could be getting, bad wins against bad teams. And really, are those wins considered, feasible? Like, I know the Clippers didn't have the hardest schedule that as of recently they have. But teams like Utah, definitely teams like Philly, these guys have had to play top tier competition early. But
Mhm.
it's interesting to see the power rankings. Also interested to see the teams on the rise. So all good for sharing that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is concluding our NBA segment of today's show. But the show is definitely not over because, of course, like we mentioned, it is Super Bowl weekend. And guys, we know what we're talking about for today, but I really want to make this interesting. I want to make this like a cool, like, let's just, off the top, what do we think? What do we think is going on in respects to what we're going to be talking about today? Right now, I'm looking at the Chiefs. What we're going to talk about is the Chiefs dynasty. And also tie that into Tom Brady. Is he considered a GOAT? Is he really the best that we've ever seen? Guys, I know you watch a lot of football. Let's hear. What do you guys think is going on with the Chiefs right now, and in terms of Tom Brady's status?
Yeah, go ahead,
In
Kenton.
terms of
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
let's
terms
let
of
Kenta go on this one.
in terms of the Chiefs, I think right now, I think if they win tomorrow, definitely it's definitely the beginning of something special there. If you
Mhm.
look at the top three players, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, these guys are all the best players at their position, arguably. Definitely two out of the three of them are the best at their positions.
Yep.
These guys are all 28 or 29 years of age and younger. So, I mean, they've got at least 3, 4 years, 3, 4 more good years ahead of them where they could string something together. Um, Patrick Mahomes is playing out of this world right now. I think he has been for the better part of the last 2, 3 years. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for these guys, really. I mean, there's not that many teams that can score the ball the way that they can. We haven't seen anything like that since maybe the St. Louis Rams in 2000.
Mm.
They were tied the greatest show on turf. I don't think we've seen an offense that great since. Um,
Mm.
Maybe we can even throw those undefeated Patriots teams and that undefeated Patriots team in there in terms of offensive productivity. But I
Mhm.
mean, these guys put up numbers like crazy, and I think if they, like I said, if they win tomorrow, then there's definitely potential for a dynasty. But I mean, even if they don't win, they're going to be competitive for the next 5, 6 years at least. So
Yeah, that roster's incredible. They have the makings of a dynasty. They are going to be able to prove themselves tomorrow. So I like that you pointed out if they could do this here, this is the start of a dynasty. But regardless, you're going to be seeing a lot of them. So I agree. I like that.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah, even like I like what Kenton said, even if they don't win tomorrow, I mean, a dynasty is not winning back to back, right? If they can win 3 out of the next 5 championships, 4 of the next 6, so they'll be good. Of course, it all starts with their division, which is easy for the next couple of years. Denver, Oakland, the Chargers are not really going to make much noise. Um, so I think, yeah, there's definitely a dynasty. There's no real big, I mean, out in the AFC, who can really compete with them? The Steelers, I mean, are they really,
Still,
going to
still
be
the
around?
Steelers that we know. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, Lamar Jackson's up and coming, but of course, if they win tomorrow, a dynasty. If they don't, I still see them winning multiple championships in the years to come. I think when you got a quarterback like Mahomes, who's locked in, I don't know what that crazy contract was, like 10 years or something, you're going to be competitive. So yeah, I really do think there's a dynasty in the making. I can easily see them winning at least another 3 championships in the next 5-year window. Absolutely. Along with the one they just won. So, 4 championships in the next 6, 7 years. I can totally see it happening.
Yeah. They have weapons, man, and it's going to be interesting to watch them tomorrow. For sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking the next few years, like you said, like the teams to compete with them, like the Steelers, right now with KC, if you're not able to put up a certain amount of points in the game, that's already going to be a problem, because you know that they're going to put those points up on the board. So you can't settle for field goals,
That's right.
And then in the coming seasons, if they keep that core, it's kind of like a lot of things. Like when you don't add too many new pieces and you keep the same core, your team chemistry strengthens, your confidence gets better, and you just start to learn more about your teammates. So they're going to be, like you said, they're going to be good in the next few years. Tomorrow could cement a dynasty for them right off the cuff, but either way, you're going to be seeing a lot of them. And
Absolutely.
I'm interested, Jelanie, because if you know that KC is the team that they are, do you feel like, right away you can give them that dynasty tag, or do you feel like you still have something that you need to see so that it proves to you that they're worthy of that?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, KC, they still have a lot to prove. Even though they won last year and they're going to the finals. They're in the finals this year. I think, especially with Mahomes' contract, until 2032, getting paid, what is it, close to like $500 million. The thing is that for a guy like him, for him to be worth that kind of money, he's going to have to win at least, in my opinion, in those 11 years, he has to win at least 4 Super Bowls. So, he gets one tomorrow, he's halfway there, right? But I think with guys like Frank Clark, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, being around for the next couple of years, they have a good, solid core, like you guys were saying, and whatnot. And if they keep filling holes here and there, they're going to be competing for a very long time. In terms of teams that I think that are going to be threats, number one, I think Buffalo. Buffalo is like a serious team, and Buffalo has been a joke for years, right? But Buffalo is my number one. Number 2 is Baltimore. I'm not going to count out Baltimore. If Lamar Jackson gets some really good receivers to work with, I think they could do some damage. Number 3, I have Indianapolis Colts. I think they're just quarterback away. So who knows? Maybe Carson Wentz, because he's kind of trash, but maybe he'll work in a different system and maybe he'll be much better there. Number 4, I have Pittsburgh. They're still a good team. They just got to make some adjustments and whatnot. Plus, they got to maximize. Because Roethlisberger is in the last contract, so they got to do what they can before he retires, right? And number 5, you guys are gonna laugh at me with this one. How about the Browns? They almost took out the Chiefs. They only lost by 5, right? So, I think Cleveland is another team that could be possibly a threat, and I think they should get rid of OBJ. So,
wow, I mean, a lot of people are saying the team will still do well with or without OBJ. It's funny you bring that up, but KC, they're going to compete for a long time, especially if guys stay healthy. That core remains the same. I'm interested to see tomorrow. I think a lot of people are going to write off Tampa Bay because, you're playing against KC. They're coming off a championship season. They're already at the highest that they could be. So, I think tomorrow is going to prove that they could not only repeat, but, they're just going to always be competing for Super Bowls. Mahomes will just be that level of a quarterback. But I don't know. What else do you guys think? Like, is that like KC is basically the team to beat right now?
Well, my prediction for tomorrow is straight cut. I'm gonna say Tampa Bay wins. The exact score I can't tell you, but I'll say around 35, 36 to like 25, 26, like a 10-point win
10
for
points?
the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying like ultimately, I'm just like again, my predictions have been off in these playoffs. I had without a hands down shadow of the doubt the Packers would beat the Bucks, and I was totally wrong. But I'm just relying on championship wins defense, and the Buccaneers defense has been proven to be lethal, as Kenton can relate today with Madden. This guy destroyed me with the Buccaneers.
Early
yeah,
season pickings.
yeah. So I think ultimately defense wins
Oh man.
championships, and I think just the experience of Brady. I got the Bucks winning tomorrow. That's my prediction for the big matchup. Yeah.
Bucks tomorrow, 10-point win. You heard it here
Yeah.
first. Harris has
Yeah.
predicted. So well, I definitely would love a follow-up on that. But okay. I hear that, and I'm not mad at that either, So that's all
Yeah.
good.
I wanted to quickly touch on Jelanie's point about the Bills being competing. I happen to agree with that. I mean, I briefly written down a list of teams that I felt like could compete with the Chiefs in the next few years, and the Bills have everything they need in place right now. They got a young quarterback who can really throw the ball, who's gotten better every year. They got their number one receiver in Stephon Diggs. And they got a great defense that's led by defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. So, I mean, they're looking really good. They got the pieces they need. I just believe that right now they're missing the run game because it was very evident in the AFC Championship. They can't run the ball. Outside of Josh Allen, who has legs, he has wheels on him, but outside of that, they have no run game. They don't have that every down or even, first and second down back that they can just hand the ball off to and say, hey, give me 3-4 yards of carry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they're running back away, but they're definitely up there and they're going to be competing for the next few years as well if they keep things in place.
Yeah. And you said, so you have Buffalo. You said you had some other teams too that you thought are like threats.
Yeah, I felt Buffalo was one of the top threats to the Chiefs being competitive or at least having a dynasty run. I also thought for the immediate future, I think the Bucks, however long Tom Brady wants to play. I mean, these guys, they got the pieces there to be competitive for the next few years. I mean, as long as they have Tom Brady, their defense is good. I mean, their defense is they've got some years on them. I mean, JPP and Ndamukong Suh. They've got some. They're especially the front seven. The front sevens, they're getting up there in years, but their secondary is fairly young. That's also kind of their weak point right now. But I think, definitely the Bucks for the immediate future for the next 2-3 years, however years Tom Brady feels like playing. I mean, he's got the weapons there. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I'm not too sure what the situation is with Ronald Jones. I know Leonard Fournette's a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
But they got the pieces there to be competitive for at least another year or two.
Yeah. The Bucks, I like that. The Bills, I really like the run they did this season. Run game struggled, but here's the thing. Like, sometimes you just don't always have the pieces. Sometimes guys actually play above their potential. It's funny, you say that because for the longest time with the Raptors, and a good family friend of mine was always saying they were one piece away. But the thing is, sometimes you could just do the most with what you have and still remain a top tier team. And it just so happens it could be a matchup situation where you catch a lucky break. So I like the Bills too. I like both of you and Jelani's points that they have the pieces right now, and look at that. They made a run this season that a lot of people didn't expect out of them. So I see that coming from them. Absolutely good choices with that. Harris, you pretty much think the Chiefs, or you have something, Jelani, you want to say?
Yeah, I forgot to give you guys my Super Bowl prediction. I got the Chiefs winning 28-24.
Chiefs 28-24. All right.
Yeah.
Do you see and how do you see that playing out? Give me like a little insider. Do you think it's just going to be like tough fought at the end, or it's going to be a comeback win, or how did you come to that?
I think it's going to be a comeback win by KC.
So the Bucks are going up early, and Casey's gonna.
Bucks for sure are gonna go up early. That's for sure.
You think the Bucks will score the first few touchdowns? That's it. They're gonna make the first few runs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Okay. I'm interested to hear, Kenton, if you think prediction wise, player wise, personnel wise, what how could this all play out?
Honestly, I've been going back and forth for the last 2 weeks on this one, man. I mean, the more when we saw the Chiefs and the Bucks advance right away, I was like, okay, the Bucks are gonna blow these guys out. It's not going to be close. Today, completely different story. I mean, my brain is telling me Chiefs is the best team in the league. If you look at their last 3 playoff games, they've gone on 16-0 runs in all 3 of their last playoff games, so they can put up points quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But my gut is telling me the Bucks. And why is that? Is because I think right now the Bucks, they're playing the best football right now that they've played all season. Their defense, people have been sleeping on this Bucks defense because these guys were good last year. Bucks defense has been putting in work since last season. The only thing is last year they had to compete with Jameis Winston doing his impression of a 30 for 30 with his 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. You know what I mean? So
True.
I mean, imagine all those times that they were, you know what I mean, the force teams do the 3 and out or whatever, and then they get off the field, Jameis Winston comes in and throws an interception, so they're back on the field again. So I felt like they were exposed way too much last season, which is why they didn't look as good as they otherwise would have been. But man, this Bucks defense, they get after the quarterback, man. I mean, they sacked Aaron Rodgers.
So it seems like you're having a hard. So what's that final prediction, though? I know it's not easy, but you have to give us one here for the podcast.
I'm getting there. Let me build up. Let me give you my points as to why I feel. You know,
why how he came to that point. No, that's
exactly.
All good.
You know, so the way to be in the Chiefs right now is time of possession. And how are you going to be able to do that? You got to keep the ball out of their hands and run the ball. The Buccaneers can run the ball relatively well. They got 2 guys who can run for 100 yards a clip easily. Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. So I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks, man. I'm really, it's tough to say because Patrick Mahomes is my guy. I like Patrick Mahomes. I like what they've been doing in Kansas City, and I hate to see Andy Reid fall to Tom Brady yet again. I mean, we all know how much that happened in Philadelphia. You know, we all know how many times Tom Brady came in and beat Andy Reid teams. So I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks in this one. I think it's gonna be a low scoring affair, and I think it has to be for the Bucks to win because if we start seeing scores run up, it's definitely gonna play into KC's favor. So I think it's gonna be a game like a close scoring game. I'd say 24-20 Bucks.
24-20.
Wow, that's a hot take. Heard it here first.
24-20. Is that overtime or no overtime?
I think that's going to be in regulation. I think the Bucks are going to do just enough to keep the Chiefs off the field, and I think that's going to play into the game plan. Because, like I said, I mean, if you want to beat the Bucks, you have to be able to keep them. You have to keep the football out of their hands. That's the only way to beat these guys. Because if they have the ball in their hands, they're going to score. There's no 3 and outs with the Chiefs. Just plain and simple. Yeah. You know, and these guys aren't playing for field goals. They're playing for touchdowns. You know, so that's 6 points every time they touch the ball, and you know what I mean. That's a recipe for a disaster if that's what you're trying. If you're trying to win games against them, so yeah. I mean, as much as I like to see the Chiefs,
it's going to be interesting to see.
Go on, what you say?
It's also going to be interesting to see Antonio Brown play. That's going to be interesting.
Is he playing by the way? I don't know because
he's playing. Yeah, I heard he's playing, and Le'Veon Bell is supposed to be playing. So,
okay,
killer bees.
One thing I'm actually concerned about as well is that the 2 tackles for the Kansas City Chiefs, their 2 starting tackles are not going to be playing, and these are the guys that'd be protecting Patrick Mahomes from that edge rush. So I mean, guys like Shaq Barrett, JPP, these guys get after the quarterback rushing 4. So I mean, you're going to be missing your main offensive lineman. So it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be a great game, man. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great halftime show. The Weeknd performing. I like the Weeknd. It's going to be Tampa Bay and Tampa, first time in history. Let's get it going, man. I can't wait.
All roads lead to Tampa. All roads lead to Tampa. It's Florida. Tom Brady's there. I want to just quick recap in terms of predictions, and then I'll leave it open to you guys. We got a few more minutes here. We could talk about basically anything regarding Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl matchups. But I just want to get everyone's prediction down because I do want to follow up and see kind of who maybe was the closest based on their analysis. So just to go back to Harris, I know you had them at plus 10. What was the final score you had for them? 35?
Yeah. I'll say 36-26 bucks.
26 bucks. Jelani, you had the Bucks winning, or no, you had KC winning, but what was your point differential? They were going to win by what? Like you think
I think he said
by 4. 28-24.
28-24. Okay, by 4. And Kenton, you were 24-20 in regulation.
24-20 Tampa. Regulation.
Okay, so we all heard it here first. We got the official predictions down. We will follow up to see whose analysis has played out to proving, I guess, their points, but also to see basically, a little bragging rights to see kind of who got to that. I'm going to leave it open, guys. We have a few more minutes here just to kind of talk some more Super Bowl talk, matchups, Tom Brady, anything you guys want. If there's anything,
I think we should talk about. I mean, I don't know if we covered the topic of is Tom Brady the GOAT. So I mean, I don't even think it's a question. I think it's goes without saying what he's doing at his age. 10 Super Bowl appearances, and I think like 13 conference title games in 19 seasons or 20 seasons. And he wants to play a couple of more years. Still has the arm strength, can air it out. So I think he's definitely the GOAT, hands down. And if you look at his 3 Super Bowl losses, I know 2 of them came against Eli, and right on those pretty much last minute possessions. I can't remember off the top of my head who the third one came against. Do you guys know if
Philly?
Philly. Oh, sorry, Philly.
That's
Philly
true.
Philly special.
Yeah. So I mean, all his losses
Philly special.
Saint Nick Foles, who seems to know how to play in a Philadelphia Eagles jersey, but once he leaves Philly, he can't play for the look of his life. But anyways,
that's a whole nother episode. Nick Foles, my God.
Oh, whole nother episode. Nick Foles. Oh, I can't wait for that.
My God, he's Philly. All of a sudden, he's trying to play football, man. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's all good, man. I think Tom Brady, you're right. It's without question he's GOAT status. He's been there, he's done that. Will he? I don't know if you guys know this, but like in terms of Super Bowl rings, winning percentage, I think he's been in the Super Bowl out of all quarterbacks. Is that right? Like in terms of like statistically where he stands. I mean, which quarterback has the most Super Bowls? Or is it I think he's already amongst one of the top quarterbacks that have the most rings. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, when he gets to the Super Bowl, that win percentage is high. And like you said, Harris, the 2 losses against the Giants, I don't know. Those were close games. Like, it was last possession.
You had the free catch by David Tyree on like the helmet. So I mean, it could have went either way. But then again, of course, the wins that he does have, 0-4 Philly and against Carolina and 0-1, like they were also last minute field goals. So it goes both ways. But without a question of a doubt, this guy's getting it done. So he's my GOAT in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tom Brady as well. I mean, to answer your question, Rahshawn, he has the most Super Bowl wins, and Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw are coming at 4 wins apiece. So definitely he's the GOAT right now, and I don't think there's any debate about that. You go to 9 Super Bowls, you win 6 of them. Arguably one of the toughest positions to play in sports. So I mean, he's definitely the GOAT in my opinion. But I definitely believe that there's guys that are coming from, Patrick Mahomes. He's right on. He's on pace. He's already got 1.
Yeah.
He's had more success earlier on than Tom Brady. So who knows who knows what he can do. But definitely right now the GOAT is definitely Tom Brady.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Brady. I'm not a big Brady fan to begin with, but I got to give the man respect where it's due. And no doubt. And you guys forget that this guy was a 6th round pick out of Michigan. Imagine that. 6th round.
199th pick or something like that. I remember.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
One of the last players chosen. That's crazy.
Funny enough, we're talking about Tom Brady, and he was actually drafted by the Montreal Expos before getting drafted to the New England Patriots. So
That is
Wow,
crazy.
did not know that. Yeah.
yeah, he was drafted by the Montreal Expos, and he ended up playing football, and the rest is history. Who knows? Maybe if he came to Montreal, we would start a baseball team now. So that's something for another day.
Yo, Tom Brady in a
Little late,
baseball
Mike.
uniform. Yeah, that would be pretty nuts to see that in Montreal. Certain athletes, that they could play multiple sports, but to see Brady playing baseball, interesting. That would be an interesting thing to see. Maybe in his later years, he might do some celebrity stuff, but you're seeing a lot of celebrity action now. Retired guys, we should definitely do that in an episode. Is like all these celebrity matchups, guys coming back. We can maybe touch on a little bit of that, but in terms of Brady, he can keep going, which is crazy, and the Bucks are going to stay competitive. Um, Coaching is always solid there. So it's like he'll just continue to build that stock, the value of the type of player he is.
Mhm.
To throw it in, honestly, I think my prediction, I like a lot of what you guys were saying. I'm honestly gonna stick with Brady on this one. I think KC, no matter what, they're gonna run up the score. But if it does come to last possession, somebody's got to get a touchdown. I mean, 2-minute offense for KC is without question. It's going to be there no matter what. But I think defensively, like you said, Kenton, the front seven for KC, they're down a couple guys. So I think I think the game is going to be won defensively rather than offensively. I actually have it as, a touchdown, 26-20, Tampa Bay, Florida. Brady does it. That's my prediction. It's going to be defensive championship for Tampa. They're going to come up big, but it's going to be a close game. I think Tampa Bay, the only way they win is by making it a low-scoring game, but winning defensively more than offensively. Getting the first downs, running the clock, having a strong run offense, and keeping KC as long as you can off the field. Because like you all mentioned, if they have the ball in their hand, they're going to score. They have too many weapons. Defensive matchups, I don't know how well Tampa Bay will be able to keep them off the board if they keep getting the ball back in their hand. So they really have to find possessions to, clamp down and do what they got to do. So I got Tampa Bay by 6. And any other closing thoughts anyone would like to say regarding Super Bowl LIV?
No, just enjoy the game, especially with the times we're living in through COVID.
Yeah.
No fancy parties this year. I think since 2003, I've been hosting Super Bowl at my house every year. So it'll be kind of weird not to do it this year. But yeah, to everyone here, we're all football fans, all sports fans. Enjoy the game, soak in some good food, and our Canadian boy the weekend representing. So it should be good.
What's up? That's what's up. Shout out to Canada.
Vegas was smart when they put the line at 3.5. I think it's at 3 now, but I think that's the lowest line Kansas City has had maybe all season. And if you're looking at player for player, Tampa Bay's got the better team. KC's got the top. They have the most talented players at their positions in terms of Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes. But if you look at player for player, the collection of talent is in Tampa Bay's favor. They got more players, overall they got collectively they have more talent than the Chiefs right now. So I think it's
better all-rounded team.
It's definitely going to be a close matchup, and I just hope it's a good game. I really hope it's not like that Super Bowl from 2 years ago with the LA Rams and New England Patriots where that was just that was slow, man.
Should have just given participation ribbons to both teams just to say, like, thanks for showing up, guys. I mean, no disrespect, but at the end of the day, you got to make the game entertaining. You guys got to find a way. You're professional athletes, best of the best. That was a tough watch.
There you go. But I hope it's not, but I doubt it's going to be like that. You got two great offenses, and you're going to see some fireworks, man. It's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
For sure.
Maybe we'll see a Philly special.
Maybe. You never know, man. Andy Reid's always got something up his
Candy Reid.
Yeah, man. Well, interesting to see that. If anybody else, Jelanie, Harris, any other closing statements? You guys pretty much ready to go to watch the game tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Just
Good to go, man.
ready and excited for the game. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
You guys all have the Bucks winning, so I guess we'll wait to see what really happens, right? So see the end result.
We will follow up on our predictions, folks. You heard it here first on the Ant Green Show. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This was another great episode where we got into a little bit of basketball, which we love. But of course, this is Super Bowl weekend. And yeah, no, this is going to be a great Super Bowl 55. A lot of entertainment on both sides. Good halftime show. Everybody's home. Everyone's going to enjoy the show. It's going to be a great game to watch. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with another episode where we might touch on a little bit of everything or maybe just double down into one sport, depending on what's been going on. This is the Ant Green Show. I'm your host, Mr. Greenheart. We will see you on the next episode. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to follow the Ant Green Show on all social media platforms. Until next time, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.